When we think about art in New Mexico, we think about Southwest art, and there's a lot of different kinds of art here in the Southwest. Today we're at J.D. Challenger's studio and home in Taos, New Mexico. He's got a lot of great things to share with us today about the world of Southwest art. Come on inside. Hi, J.D.
Hey, Richard. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine. It's great to see you again. And we're back for another lesson in art with our good friend J.D. Challenger. J.D., this is a fantastic piece that you're working on now.
Oh, thank you.
Tell our audience a little bit about it.
Well, this is an acrylic piece, and I mainly work in acrylic. And on top of that, it's a ceremonial piece. It's a Sioux piece, and so far it hasn't given me a whole lot of problems. but the day's not over with.
I have no idea how you or anyone who's an artist that does this. I just know that I love what I see, and I feel in your work. I hope I feel in your work what you feel in your work. But there are other types of art as well, aren't there?
Oh, there's every end of the spectrum. But now there's something here that it's going to be a surprise for you. What do you think when I say leather art?
I would probably think saddles.
Right. Do I have a surprise for you? Okay.
Great.
One of my dear friends is Brad Martin. And when I say Brad Martin is a master in leather, is probably an understatement. But he's been at it many, many years, and the depth what he can get with that leather is, you will not believe it.
Do you have a piece here that you could show us?
Funny you should ask. This is one of Brad's pieces. That's leather.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Feel that. I mean, and see, there's one thing about this. He can't make a mistake. I mean, whatever
if he makes one
he gotta
mistake,
live with
he's
it,
done. Right.
And if I make a mistake, I can show you how to get out of that for the most part. But look at the intricate detail in this. You know, fascinating is the only word I can come up with.
Do you think there's a possibility I could go visit with him?
Oh, I bet you we can. And
that'd be great.
Yeah, and you need to go over there, visit his studio. He's a fascinating person. He's a character. But he's probably one of the best kept secrets in the world.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go over and I'll visit with Brad, and we'll show you the great work in leather that Brad does, and then I'll pop back here and report back to you on what we found.
You're going to enjoy it. You're in for a treat, buddy.
Thanks, J.D., as always. We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Hi, Brad.
Richard.
Great to meet you.
Great to meet you, too.
J.D. said you are the man we should come and see to learn a little bit about leather art, which I honestly have to admit to you, I didn't know anything about. Where did leather art come from?
Well, leather is, of course, the most ancient of mediums, but, the actual decoration of leather goes way back. But it came to this country through the Spanish, who came here, with their saddlery and, of course, the armor was metal, but it also has similar kinds of decoration as they used on saddle. They got it from the Moors, but it eventually filtered into the cowboy trade here. And the Western saddlery and so forth has really kept it alive for people like me to take to the next level.
Well, there aren't a lot of people that do what you do, are there?
Well, yes and no. They're mostly hobbyists, and it's a perfect hobby for people, because you can get up from it and come back to it and nothing changes, and you can make little things for Christmas gifts, make things for personal use, or like me, I do more like artwork, and I take it to the framed art level, and it's better for me to do that way, even though I've done it all, and around Christmas time, all my friends get, leather stuff for Christmas.
Well, I think we're all familiar with leather handbags, and you're wearing one of the belts that you have, so we're familiar with leather belts. I even have a leather hat band, so that we know about. But let's talk a little bit about leather art and, as you said, art that you actually hang from your wall. Do you have a piece that you can show us?
Well, I do, as a matter of fact. I have a piece here. You'll see there's no glass ever on these things. They have to be open to the air. I do a lot of Native American work because their spirituality intrigues me, and I read about ceremonies, I read about things, and I am not Native American, but I get visual images and I like to put them on leather.
So what's the process that goes into this, and about how long does it take to make a piece of art like this?
Well, obviously it depends on the size and the intricacy of it. You know, to me, the time doesn't really matter, but a piece like this took about a month. Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about this piece in particular. What does it represent?
Well, I do a lot of Hopi Kachina type art, and this is a Hopi Tawa Kachina, who is the sun Kachina. And the idea here is there's a kiva ladder here. Perhaps a priest has spent the night in the kiva. He's come up, the sun is up, and there's a thunderstorm coming in that's brought by the rainbirds who are attending the Tawa Kachina. And the rain, of course, is everything to the Southwest Indians. So they have deities, generally stylized birds, that help bring the rain. And that's what this is about.
And once you actually tool the leather, is that the right term, tooling the leather? Then you have to get in here and paint all of this. So how do you go about painting it? And does this require a special kind of paint?
Well, yes and no. There's two kinds of leather dye. There's a penetrating dye that you dye, say, something black or brown with. And there's surface dyes, and the surface dyes are acrylics, just like JD uses, exactly. And they're the same thing, and you can blend colors, and, you know, it's several. It generally takes a couple of coats, but you get a very nice, bright color, you know, on there.
It's amazing when I look at this. These look like beads, but it's really tooled leather, isn't it?
It is tooled leather, correct.
This is absolutely beautiful. And I know that you don't give yourself enough credit for being as internationally acclaimed as you are in the field that you work in. But you also do boots.
I do.
And you've done boots for a lot of famous people.
Absolutely.
Governor Schwarzenegger, and you were telling us earlier about a pair of boots for Dr. Laura.
Dr. Laura, you know who she is. And,
yeah.
I've made boots for Senator John Kerry. I made boots for Jennifer Tilly. She's an actress. I just never know. You know, Steven Seagal has a pair of my boots.
We appreciate you giving us a little bit of insight into what you do and how you do it, and this is really phenomenal, and it's like nothing that I've ever seen before. I have to tell you, this is just absolutely fantastic. But I know your friend J.D. Challenger did a little favor for you, too, that also includes some of your leather art, doesn't
Absolutely,
it? Let's take a look at this.
Well, J.D. and I are musicians together, and I'm a bass player. And when I got this bass, it was a very strange color, lavender, and J.D. decided he would paint it for me. So I said, if you'll paint it, I'll do a leather, hand-carved leather pick guard, and, of course, a strap to match. So, you know, I leave the bass with him for a few days and come back, and it's magnificent. He's done this purple metal flake with his signature eagle feathers and his actual signature right there.
This just is another example of what you can really do with art if you know what you're doing. From my standpoint, I just appreciate it. I'm not really up on how you would manage to pull a piece like this off or the leather that goes along with it. But Brad, thanks for spending some time with us today.
My pleasure.
This is absolutely fantastic, and it's wonderful to have the opportunity to learn a little bit more about a new kind of art for us, and that's leather art. All the best to you, and thanks again.
Thanks very much.
If you'd like more information on the leather artwork of Brad Martin, call 575-751-7727 or send an email to dnmartin53@hotmail.com.
J.D. Brad Martin is an absolutely incredible artist, and I guess I'd always thought when you talk about leather art that you're talking saddles and that was it.
That's what most people think, you know, but not with Brad.
The thing that amazed me was the types of tools that he uses in comparison to the brushes that you use.
Well, you know, if I make a mistake, and it does happen, for the most part, I can fix it, right? He can't. I mean, if he cuts too deep or cuts wrong, or it's just, there could go months of work. I don't know how he does it. I really don't.
Well, what we've learned is that not every artist can can do every type of art, right?
That's right. You know what is, I've got to take my hat off to Brad Martin, because there's no way I wouldn't even attempt to do something like that.
Well, it's fantastic, and I really appreciate you giving our viewers the opportunity to see some of this great Southwest art in a different kind of medium that Brad Martin does. And we'll look forward to coming back and visit with you next week.
Wait till you see what I've got for you next week, bud.
Another surprise with J.D. Challenger. We'll look forward to being back here. We hope you'll join us again next week.